to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me, Simon Jordan. Simon, talk to me what you just witnessed just now, women's boxing.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, what you saw was two great fights. The fight that preceded this was a great fight, and the fight we just seen Clarissa Shields come into a ring with an immense atmosphere, a partisan crowd, came in here and justifiably won a unanimous decision. But what you've seen is women's boxing at its finest. It's a proper grown-up sport with proper competitors, and it deserves all the plaudits it's going to get.
I know you've been a fan of boxing for a long, long time. Did you ever anticipate that we're going to one day see a card on a Saturday night in London packed out with just only women?
No, to be fair, because I was immersed in men's boxing, but now looking at women's boxing, looking at the evolvement of it, looking at the quality of it, looking at the competitors and the nature of the sport, and looking at the innovation that people like Ben Shalom are bringing to the equation. Yeah, you know, it's an exciting development. I think there's a lot more to go. I think you're going to see an evolution of fighters. I think you're going to see women's fighters becoming more concussive in their power. But what you saw was a very, very skilled technician in Clarissa Shields and a very, very brave fighter in Savannah Marshall. There was a gap, in my view. There was a gap in class, but it's not a gap that I don't think Savannah can not bridge. But it was a great fight, a compelling fight. And I'm glad I got to see it firsthand.
Is this a sign that women's sport is flourishing, especially, we saw the Lioness a couple of months ago, we've now got the women in boxing. Are we seeing signs of it flourishing now?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I never like this idea that we need to pitch men's sport against women's sport. I never feel the necessity to over-egg the pudding. But the bottom line is women are an extremely an important part of sport. They achieve in so many things, and I'm pleased to see that they're standing of their own volition. This isn't the men helping women's sport become something significant. This is women's sport becoming something significant and getting the recognition that it duly deserves. You've got a superstar in Clarissa Shields, you've got a superstar in Savannah Marshall, and you've got a superstar event. And you can see, look at the audience, look at the energy. There's an argument to say it wasn't as feral as maybe the men's fights were, but there's another argument to say it was as the fight got going, as the fighters came in. So it was a spectacle, an absolute fabulous spectacle.
I spoke to Ben Shalom earlier this week and I said to him, are we going to see more of this, women cards? And he said it's going to be tough because the fights have to be right, but ultimately we are going to see more women fight on cards, so it's going to be mixed cards and a lot of them.
Yeah, well, the argument will always be, if you can see it, you can be it. Right, so if women fighters are looking at this sort of evolution in boxing, they're seeing the opportunity, they're seeing how seriously the sport's being taken and how professional it's become. They're also seeing the commercial and financial opportunities to make a life through boxing. So I do think it'll evolve. It won't be easy, but you need these groundbreaking, innovative, innovation-based thinking. You know, chapeau to Sky. You know, Ben Shalom using some clever thinking about how and where sport can go and using efficacy and being ethical about it. But what you've seen is a very compelling night's boxing. If you want to draw a parallel between the men's boxing, I think that's slightly sad, and some people want to. What you've seen, 19,000 fans fully engaged, and not fully engaged because it's women's boxing, fully engaged because it was boxing of a high caliber that happened to be with women.
Ben Shalom's working on this card with Top Rank, with Mick Hennessy, Dimitri Salita, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom as well. Do we need to see more of that? I know you've been a big cricket of fights and the right fights not happening and undercards being weak, but do we need to see more of that to save our sport?
Well, I don't think we need to save our sport. I think we need to concentrate its mind a little bit. I think the idea that boxers and promoters can't work together is for the birds. Ben has a vantage point that he wants to work with the other promoters. You know, Eddie and Frank and George, I hope, feel the same way. These are bright guys. What you want to see in all sports is the best fighting the best, promoters getting out of the way, and making it happen. It's like government in this country. We don't want to see government running business. We want government out of the way and businesses being able to run. So we want to see promoters out of the way making fights happen. So with that in mind, I don't think we need to save our sport. We've had some dark moments in the last couple of weeks, and a few people need to have their minds concentrated about what's right and what's wrong. And ultimately, you guys need to ask stronger questions when you get an opportunity to do so. But notwithstanding that, you've got a great sport here with great integrity at times, great authenticity, and every now and again, tragically, it goes off the rails. But that doesn't mean it can't be set straight. And when you see the engagement, I owned a Premier League football club. I know what passion is about. This is a different kind of sport. It draws people like me into it. It makes people like me become incredibly excited and engaged and want to be involved in it. So I think when you look at this and see this, the sport doesn't need to be saved. It just every now and again perhaps needs its mind concentrated about what's right and wrong.
You mentioned there about the government, and I'm not asking you further questions because I did see your clip on TalkSport. So, Simon, I appreciate you giving me a little bit of time. Great to see you, and yeah, we'll hopefully catch up with you soon.
Look forward to it.
Simon Jordan for IFL TV, thank you very much.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.